Do you recognise yourself in any of these buzzwords? They've been bandied around by political parties and their strategists for years now. But what are they about, and are they still relevant? OK, yeah, I'm not exactly Essex man, just Yorkshireman Chris Mason, jobbing BBC political correspondent, complete with industrial quantity of hair gel, so much so that any passing blue bottle that makes the mistake of landing will never fly again. Now, this is an interactive video. Welcome to it. If, for example, you want to watch the rest of Harry Enfield's performance, minus my undoubted artistic flair, you can click there right now. Essex Man, the sort of moneyed, materialistic character parodied by Harry Enfield back in 1988, didn't actually enter the political vocabulary until a few years later. It was used to describe voters who moved out of central London to surrounding counties and had traditionally voted Labour, but that Mrs Thatcher had succeeded in winning over. You can get a taste of the life and times of Essex Man in a BBC Look East report by clicking here. The ability of Thatcherism to tap into working and middle class aspiration through policies such as the right to buy your council house was key. And Mrs Thatcher's visit to one such family in Essex, which you can watch now, became politically iconic. The importance of tapping into that magic concept of aspiration was recognised by another future inhabitant of Downing Street. Here he is in 1996, identifying what Labour saw as a crucial voter group.
I was canvassing in the Midlands on an ordinary suburban estate. I met a man polishing his Ford Sierra, self-employed electrician. Dad always voted Labour. He used to vote Labour, he said. But he bought his own home. He'd set up his own business. He was doing quite nicely. So he said, I've become a Tory.
It's taken me 3 weeks, you know, to get all that hair gel out. Anyway, you can click now to see Tony Blair elaborate on that point. By the time of Labour's conference in 1996, Ford had replaced the Sierra with the Mondeo. Its aspirational, hard-working owner, Mondeo Man, became a target of New Labour's 1997 election campaign. Oh, hello. Fancy seeing you here. I've just brewed up, actually, like any self-respecting Brit. I put the tea bags into my suitcase. Fantastic sunshine here. The beach is terrific. I'm not sure if it's my outfit that seems to have put off everyone else, but who cares? It's brilliant. Now, who likes to holiday in Florida, is married to a plumber and not exactly riveted by the intricacies of politics? Well, back in 1997, it was Worcester Woman, and you can be transported there now, courtesy of Newsnight. Focus on female voters came after Bill Clinton's presidential campaign here in the United States. That had happened the year before, and it had identified soccer moms as being crucial. And Worcester, back in the UK, was important as a Tory marginal, high on Labour's list of target seats. As you can see from our archived Newsnight report, the Tories felt they had to hang on to Worcester if they were to win the '97 election. Well, they lost Worcester and they lost the election. Now, how do you take your tea? Now, many other voter groups have been identified since the 1997 election. In 2001, the Tories targeted Pebble Dash people. Click to learn more about them. And then in 2010 came Motorway Man, which led to quite an assignment for Newsnight's Stephen Smith. If there's one video worth clicking on here, make it this one. The materialistic, car-dependent middle manager who lives in a new housing estate around key motorways was said to be absolutely at the centre of the 2010 election campaign. But are these groups anything more sophisticated than attempts to define the average, dare I say it, middle-of-the-road voter? Well, the BBC's David Cowley might be able to help us with that.
I think we can easily drown in some of these sometimes absurd expressions and descriptions of people, but in essence what it is attempting to deal with the point that in most elections since the war, fewer than 1 in 10 seats have changed hands. So over 90% of the constituencies have just stayed where they were. So governments were made or broken in very small numbers of seats. Therefore, it became an incentive for the political parties to look at those seats and think to themselves, who's in there? What groups in there with small shifts could actually come our way?
And you can see more of my chat with David by clicking here. Now, with this election, the big political parties have been doing some serious data crunching. And the buzz phrase, well, it ain't exactly sexy. Voter segmentation. It sees them attempting to break down and reach voters in key seats with apparently increasingly sophisticated methods. And you can learn more about this process from a recent BBC Daily Politics report. The political parties believe that helping them to identify voters in this way allows them to hone their message and, they hope, make a crucial difference.